Okay. So based on that one phone call that you made inside your hotel room, now the Secret Service knew where you were and they ended up kicking down your door?
Yeah, pretty much. So like later in discovery, I found out that yeah, he was interrogated when he got arrested up in Cleveland. They caught him with like I think it was like almost $20,000 of counterfeit money and real money. You know, when they seized that money, deposited it in the bank because they assumed it was drug money. The bank ended up bringing some of it back, saying, "Hey, some of this is fake." So then the Secret Service got involved. They interrogated him, brought him down. He agreed to cooperate. They brought him down to Knoxville to set me up. So, yeah, basically, after that phone call, the Cleveland Secret Service, Knoxville branch of the Secret Service, Organized Crime Unit, Drug Task Force, KPD, Knox County Sheriffs, all that, they kicked in the door.
They kicked in your door. Okay. And during that whole time in Knoxville, were you getting arrested at all for other stuff, drugs, anything, or were you completely clean up until that night?
No, I mean, I've been arrested a couple times on other charges. One time, ironically enough, I got, well, I didn't even get arrested. I got like a court summons or whatever, like a ticket for theft for stealing Bible paper. You know, I was in this like Walmart or whatever. And, you know, I was just taking these pages out, putting them in my pocket. And I guess like loss prevention came up to me and was like, "Oh, we know you're stealing something, whatever." And, you know, they ended up finding this just blank pages of like scrap paper. They didn't know why the fuck I was doing it. But yeah, so the cop was like, didn't understand. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Because he was like, "Why are you stealing this random blank scrap paper?" But yeah, I mean, obviously I wasn't going to admit to what I was doing. So they just wrote me a little ticket. And yeah, I got, during all this, I got a distribution of heroin charge, but all that ended up being dropped because it wasn't after lab results and all this. But
Okay. So you're sitting in your hotel room and you're surrounded by all this printing equipment and computers and printers and ink and, you know, lacquer and everything else like that. And the feds come and kick the door down. How many officers were involved in this raid?
oh God, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, probably at least 40, I would say. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 different agencies because the informant that set me up was asking for like almost a brick of heroin too. So there was drug task force, you know, they didn't know what I was, because they didn't even know my name until the informant told them like, "Oh, it's Jeff Turner down in Knoxville." You know what I mean? So they weren't really sure what to expect. I think, they just knew that like the Secret Service agent, my like arresting officer or whatever, was, you know, he was saying he was pissed at first because I guess every time one of these fake bills hits the bank or gets discovered, they call him because he was like the special agent in charge or whatever. So he was like, his phone is just blowing up all day, every day for like a year or two, you know, and then you factor in like there was talk of guns and drugs and all this stuff, which, you know, I didn't really sell a lot of drugs or anything. So, but, you know, the drug task force, whatever, was still there. So yeah, I'd say at least 40 cops, or especially, you know, DEA, Secret Service, Knoxville and Cleveland Secret Service, KPD, Sheriff's Office, Organized Crime Unit. So yeah.
Okay, so 40 guys burst into this room. They arrest you. They seize everything. And I guess there was a computer and it had all the serial numbers for all the fake bills in one of the files?
Not all of them, but a lot of them. So like I'd change, you know, I'd have different templates for different serial numbers because I changed the serial number for basically like every, I'd have like at any given time at least 25 templates of different serial numbers. That way, if I were to print $2,500, every serial number would be different. And that, yeah, on that computer, they probably found like, I'd say 50 different templates that, you know, that could link me to hundreds of thousands of dollars that was passed throughout the country.
Got it. So you initially get arrested, and in the beginning, it's just state charges, right?
Yeah, I knew the feds would pick it up. The feds were my arresting officers, but until I think they needed to get a warrant to go through the computer and compile evidence and build a case and everything. But yeah, originally it was just state charges just to kind of hold me until the feds could indict me.
Right. And then 3 months later, the feds charged you as well.
Yeah.
And your wife gets arrested also.
Yeah, she was arrested with me. She was in the hotel room.
Oh, okay. And what was she charged with? The same thing that you were initially?
No, well, I think they only charged her with a criminal simulation charge, which is not a very, in the state, which isn't a very severe charge. I think the only real evidence they had on her was passing a couple $100 bills. So, and I think they knew that I probably would plead, I wouldn't let her, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, basically that was kind of part of my plea agreement was we won't charge your wife with anything. But, so I'm not sure the exact charges, that they originally gave her, but they were all dropped on her, so.